tape was now the major technology, and we were running things on computer programs based on a analytic package called OSIRIS, which was developed right here at the Institute for Social Research. And one of the very interesting things about that program, which was a way of managing data, processing data, and analyzing it, was that it had some very uniform aspects to it. And it was almost like the precursor of a marked up language, because the documentation was in effect marked up. And even though it wasn't intended to be, this system was used by other data archives as well. So even there's such an emphasis on standards today, and I think people who are coming of age today think standards were only developed in the last 5 or 10 years, but even going back 30 or 40 years ago, there were standards for how to process data, and we shared a lot of these standards with other archives. So we had these tapes in the 1980s, and we stored our data on tapes. We sent data out on tapes. These were big magnetic reels, 9-track tapes. And then eventually the technology moved into smaller types of tapes. And then eventually in the 90s we got everything online, though we kept a lot of data also on CDs as well at one point. I guess the greatest change is just in the computing equipment, though, that we worked with. When Mary and I first started, we had what in effect were just dumb terminals. And we had no personal computers at that time at all, and we just typed things into something that went into the university's mainframe system. And of course that changed dramatically over the course of the years.
There you go.
Well, it was really quite an amazing transformation. So once we had data online, we were able to distribute them first through FTP, leading up to what we have now, which is web downloads. And that just basically transformed our whole business, so that the website became sort of synonymous with ICPSR, and people came to know our site basically as who we are. And so some interesting things happened along the way. Some of our viewers may remember our big guide to resources and services. It was a gigantic catalog or inventory of all of our data holdings. So when data started to move online, we also migrated those descriptions that were in print form to machine readable form, and eventually to a Gopher server, which was sort of our first web presence and led to where we are today. So that was really kind of an amazing transformation.